Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a cigar review. This one is on the Flor Dominicana Capitulo dos. Beautiful, beautiful cigar. Look at that wrapper. Very oily, veiny, absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm hoping some of my cigar reviews will be at home where it'll be a little more set up, a little more formal. But today I'm going to do it on the truck because I've been wanting to review this cigar for a long time. This is absolutely one of my top 5 cigars. I absolutely fell in love with it the first time I ever smoked it. So stick with me today and I will explain to you how good this cigar really is. So everyone, this is the Flor Dominicana Capitulo dos. And I'm going to go ahead and get it prepared before I take off. So everybody, I'm being safe, don't worry. Sometimes I do cut them while I'm going down the road, but for the sake of today, I'm going to do it ahead of time before I take off. I just finished my lunch, got some leftover Thanksgiving in. It was delicious, and got some fuel. So the little truck here is good to go. This is a cigar you can do a couple different ways. All right, so they do say that you can just pinch the end. You see, this is a chisel cut, what they call a chisel cut cigar. It is a box press because it's more squared off. I love a good box press cigar. Okay, so we're just gonna start off with all that right there. Box press, very comfortable in the mouth. Being chiseled, it is like having a smaller cigar in the mouth, but getting the effect of a bigger vitola. The vitola is the size. This is considered a Toro. It measures 6x5 by 58. But the foot actually gets pretty big, and I would like to measure, it looks closer to a 62, 64. Maybe somebody can correct me on that, but it just looks like it gets a little bit bigger. So the figurado is the shape, the fact that it's a chisel cut. The vitola, as they call it, is the size of the cigar, okay? So on this cigar, some people talk about just pinching the ends and it will snap right open. I'm real careful about that. I'm going to, normally, I love a V-cut, okay? You can see the V, all right? Normally that's my go-to, but on this cigar, I'm going to do a flat, just a normal flat. I've got an old cheapie here, and I'm really, literally just gonna take off the end. Just the very end. Cover that. Now, if I was really gonna do this right, I would do what they call a smokestack. This was shown to me the first time I had this cigar, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about cigars, you guys, but this one was kind of new. So you take basically a nail, you know, a very thin nail, and you just punch a little hole. You do not go all the way through. You just punch a hole in the bottom. And as you're smoking it, it's almost like having a reverse retrohale. Like the smoke just comes in at a whole other angle. It's a little fresher, a little cooler. You get some other flavor notes on this. So I'm gonna try it today without the smokestack put in, because normally I do it with the smokestack. I start out by lightly toasting the foot. I just like to make sure that it's very even. I don't want to get the flame too close to the cigar and burn it. I also, especially if I'm using matches, I don't want to impart too much of the smell from the butane or from the match itself into the cigar. For that purpose, I will also, before I take my first inhale, I'll also blow out through the cigar. So I'm pushing out any excess chemically smells and flavors that the lighter or lighter fluid may impart on this. So this cigar is built in the Dominican Republic. The wrapper, or the outside leaf of the cigar, is a Nicaraguan Colorado, but there's some places that say it's a Brazilian Habano. So a little interesting there. The binder, or the second leaf inside the cigar, is an Ecuadorian Habano. Really nice. I really like the Ecuadorians. They smoke really well. And the Habanos are some of my favorites because they're earthy and they're more natural tasting. The Habano, to me, I get the most straight tobacco flavor from. The filler itself is a Dominican Ligero. So very true Dominican Republic leaf. Long leaf, because these are handmade cigars, which is the only thing you should be smoking. This cigar specifically was built by Antonio Gomez, which is Lito Gomez's son. Lito Gomez is the main designer, producer at La Flor Dominicana. And they do some really, really nice cigars. They have quite a few that I have enjoyed. This one just stands out the most to me. Beautiful cigar. It is a follow-up. There was a Capitulo Uno, or Capitulo 1 for Americans, that did really well. I have not smoked it, so I won't try to offer any real opinion on that one. But this Capitulo Dos, beautiful, beautiful. So on the first sniff, when you just sniff the cigar, and you just, before you even light it, you just smell it up and down the wrapper, you get these kind of earthy notes, some cocoa, a little bit of chocolate, and it kind of gives you an idea of what's to come. On the first puff of this cigar, you do get that welcoming, like sweet tobacco, very natural, straightforward tobacco flavor, and it's nice. You also kind of get a hint of leather, I feel, and some cocoa, maybe some hints of dark chocolate, which are all things to develop and come. So if you smoke cigars, you know that you don't inhale them. These are not cigarettes. These are made to be enjoyed, almost chewed on, really taken through the palate, not only in the mouth but in the nose. So when I say we inhale, we're taking it into the mouth, but we block it. We're not allowing it to go down in our throat. Insert jokes there if you like. So I'll show you, when we take in the smoke, we keep it in our mouth, and you kind of think of chewing on it. Literally, you can chew on it, get some flavors mixing, and you can let a little bit of the extra smoke out through the mouth at that point. Then, for more seasoned smokers, we're going to retrohale, which means we're going to take the rest of the smoke and we're going to close our mouth and push the smoke out through our nose, which gives us a much better sense of the palate, the flavor palette within this cigar. So, you might not be able to see the retrohale being here in the truck, but it's really nice. So again, on these first puffs, we do get a lot of just straightforward tobacco, and to me, leather. I do get a little bit of the cocoa. Toward the end, I get the dark chocolate, but on the retrohale, the other flavors that come through are nutty. Kind of nutty flavors. Maybe a touch of fruit. Let's say a touch of fruit. We'll get into that midway of the cigar. This cigar sells for roughly $15, $12 to $15. Now, depending on the shop that you go to, the humidor, the tobacconist, you might find it for $1 or $2 less. It might be $1 or $2 more. Either way, it's worth it. It really is. Just make sure that their humidity is set correctly in that humidor. Any good, proper shop should be anywhere from about roughly 68 to 72. My favorite humidity is 69 to 72. I'll do a whole other video on humidity at one point too. has this warmth to it. Still just a lovely burn. Look at that equal burn so far. Really nice ash on that. Starting to get into the second half or the middle of this particular cigar. As you can see, it has a beautiful ash, nice, tightly compacted, holding on lovely. Now in the truck, I will tap it off a little sooner because I don't want it to drop in on me or in my truck. I try to keep my truck very, very neat. I'm almost obsessive about it. And it still happens every now and then. Ash is gonna fall. But sometimes you bust your ash, right? So, but in general, people, it's etiquette. In general, it is etiquette to keep your ash on for a good long while before tapping it off. A, it shows that you're taking things slowly, you're having respect for the cigar, but it also helps hold that heat in. So you'll find that when you leave the ash on, you're probably not going to have to relight as much. As I'm getting into the middle of this cigar, you really get a hint of raisin coming through. The dark chocolate really comes up to the forefront. The smooth and creamy tobacco kind of hits in the midway notes. And you're really starting to get a sense of the spice that this cigar has. I kind of feel like I'm getting nutmeg and cloves, which, you guys, I can taste some pretty good flavors in cigars, but a true, the people down in the Dominican Republic, the ones that do this, this is their absolute life. People that sell cigars and they know them super well, their flavor profiles can really, or their palate for flavors can really go above and beyond. They'll be like, oh, I taste star of anise and coriander and honeysuckle, and you're like, what does that even taste like? So, I do get some different nuances in this flavor profile, but you have to smoke it for yourself. Now, if you're new to smoking, you're not going to have a good flavor profile. You're not. You're going to get one or two flavors more than likely from a good cigar. But as you develop your palate, your senses, then you'll start picking up other flavors. The retrohale really helps. This is a cigar too that I can't do this with all of them. Sometimes when I take my smoke in, I will also get to breathe through my nose, inhaling just a little bit on the tail end of the smoke. And that in itself gives me another profile, another nuance to what's going on in these leaves. And when I do that on this, I definitely get that nutty, earthy, woody flavor. And it's so nice, and there's no burn. There are some cigars that on the retrohale will burn your nose. I don't care where you are in the cigar. Any cigar is going to be pretty mild in the first quarter of it. But a lot of cigars will just burn your nose. And those are not my favorite cigars. Those are not in my top 5. Maybe I'll do a video one day on my top 5. So if you are new to smoking, tell me if you have questions about cigars that you've wondered. Why do we like them? Why do we smoke them? Anything. Or if you're wanting to get into it, feel free to ask me questions. How do I go about that? I might do a video on that one day too. How to get started into some cigars. And if you are currently a cigar smoker who really enjoys, I know that there's people that just throw a stick in their mouth, they just chew on the end of it. They don't really know what flavor profile is going on, they just know if they like it or not. And that's okay. If you are like me and you really enjoy the cigar, you want to learn about the history and the tradition of these cigars. Guys, there's like 300 sets of hands that goes into every cigar. These things are really finely crafted by people who are way more talented than I'll ever be. If you are into cigars and you've smoked this Capitulo Dos, let me know what you think of it. Let me know what kind of flavors you're getting out of it. Or is there a cigar you'd like to see me review? because I plan on doing a lot of these videos. A lot. I love cigars, and there's just so many out there. I do have my top 5, but I have to say, everything in the top 5 can be fluid. So I have some that kind of creep in and then go out, or they share a first or second place prize or standing. Overall, I like a pretty full-bodied cigar, medium to full body, but I'm not against a mild cigar, especially in the morning for breakfast. If you just want something light, something like a good Connecticut wrapper can be nice. There are exceptions to the Connecticut, which does tend to be the creamiest and the lightest, like creamed coffee, you know? Coffee with cream and sugar in it. That's what a Connecticut is going to give you. But there are some that are like the Ecuadorian broadleaf wrappers. Pretty rich. Can be pretty bold. So, to each their own. There's something out there for everybody, just like motorcycles. This cigar normally lasts about 2 to 2.5 hours. It's a long smoking cigar. That's why I like the Toro, even the Robusto, the Gordo, all of those sizes or vitolas I really like a lot, especially being on the truck because they're going to last me a while. On the truck, they don't generally last quite as long as they would if I was just sitting in a room, because I have the wind from the window pulling all the time. It's like it pulls a little extra on that cigar, so it does take off some of my smoke time. Alright guys, so I'm about an hour into this cigar, and I'm just halfway through it. Halfway through. So I would say that I'm nearing the end of the middle section. It's still so good. It's still so good. So now I start picking up not only the leather, dark chocolate, nuttiness for sure, but I'm also getting a little hint of cedar. I would say cedar. It's really nice. It's very light. On the retrohale especially. Another little tip that I have found for bringing out flavors in any cigar is as you get smoking and your mouth is really soaking up those flavors, in between puffs, take your tongue and rub it forward and back over the roof of your mouth, and you'll get all these deeper notes, the nuttiness or the leather or dark cherry. That's another one that can come through in some cigars. Any of your heavier flavors, you'll get that. Still, your retrohale is where you're going to find those lighter, more nuanced notes. But this cigar is just a meaty cigar. So the middle portion of the cigar takes a while to get through. The first inch or so always tends to smoke pretty quickly, I find, with most cigars. But it's the middle body of the cigar that really, that's where your experience is going to come in, and you're just going to really enjoy it. Oh, it's so nice. That's all I can say. Like, this is just a beautifully constructed cigar. You can see the ash is a little jagged. I relit it once on one side, but other than that, it's hanging in there pretty good. The cap of the cigar holding on beautifully. It doesn't fall apart. It's just gorgeous. This cigar is easily in my top 3, if not tied for first or second. There's like 2 or 3 cigars that I have in first. I'll do a review on those sometime too. So if you're getting into cigars, let's say you're new to cigars, you want to start developing your palate for the flavors that cigars can produce, get a diary. anyways, I kind of wish I had done it. I would be more sophisticated in the flavors that I get, I think. And I would certainly have a nice trip down memory lane looking through my diary, what I've smoked, what it was like, but also if there's a cigar that you go, it might be a little too strong for me, well, go ahead and smoke it, write down your notes about it, what it is, what kind of leaf and binder it is, the wrapper and the binder, but also what kind of notes you get from it. Because as your profile develops, as your palate develops, you might give it 6 months to a year and then go smoke it again and compare notes. See if it's still a cigar you go, I just don't like it. I have found one cigar that I threw out. And it's actually by my favorite company. I hate to name it. But the diary can be a huge, huge help in really exploring what leaves you like. There are so many leaves. I'll do another review on just cigar leaves while doing a review. So my favorite of all time, my favorite cigar leaf is a Sumatra. Woo! Every time I have a cigar, I don't even have to know that the wrapper or the binder is Sumatra. When I smoke it, I go, I like this cigar. It's really good. The Sumatra leaf has a warmth about it, a little hint of a sweetness about it, an approachability, I guess I would have to say. They are outstanding. Okay, so I am 2 hours into this, and I still have a little bit left. Now, I'm going to end up smoking this down to here. I'll end up taking the band off. I'll smoke it down to my fingertips. But I gotta say, the leather and the woodiness are still there. It's the nuttiness that's coming out now. This cigar, you guys, it has so many flavors, so many nuances to it. It really is a nice cigar. You must try it. If you like cigars, if you are a seasoned cigar smoker, I would say, try this cigar. This Capitulo Dos is not for a beginner. So, let's see, to pair this, people talk about pairing a cigar with a good drink. Ultimately, I don't think you can go wrong. A good bourbon, I think, is going to be warm. A whiskey, really nice. If you're a wine person, go with a red wine. A Pinot Noir, I think a Cab Sav would probably be the best. That would be really nice. If you're not into drinking, pair it with a grape juice or a pomegranate juice or even a cherry juice. Again, something dark that's going to play off of these flavors pretty well. It will also go well with coffee. The Flor Dominicana likes to say that this is an after-dinner cigar. So you have something in your stomach. There's probably a little more nicotine in this one than others, as the filler is that Dominican Ligero, and that is pure leaf. That is just all pure. So the more Ligero you have, for example, the more nicotine it can have. So again, I had lunch, so I guess that counts. This would not be a startup cigar in the morning for me, but midday to evening, oh yeah.